Springs versus ribbons. Sounds crazy out of context, but here we go. Hey out there, it's Adam aka Swimming Bird, and welcome to Arms on the Nintendo Switch. This is a new, very strange game that's a bit like Punch-Out if your gloves were connected to crazy straws. We have these extendable arms that really make this a very unique experience among fighting games. I kind of liken it to Splatoon. It does a lot of innovation, just like Splatoon did with shooters, to kind of challenge the notion of what a fighting game could be. Also, it had a similar effect on me to Splatoon, where I watched the trailer and was kind of like, I don't know about this, and then I played it and it got its hooks in. So I really hope you guys will try. We've got a fresh copy here for me to play along with you out there with this series. So let's get into it. We have 10 characters here. There's an 11th we will see at the end of the episode who will be added in a free update, and they've got even more characters on the way. We're going to start with Spring Band, but before we jump into the Grand Prix, I will go through the characters and just kind of give you a brief little synopsis or talk about what they're all about, because they're all very unique. We're going to use the thumbs-up motion controller grip. There is traditional controls, which I do recommend you try out to start potentially, because it is a little easier to move around when you're learning the game with traditional controls. So here we go. We're going through the basics, and we're going to learn how to move around and punch and play this strange little game. So with motion controls, we kind of tilt both of them in the direction we want to go, and actually works pretty well when you get used to it. L on the left Joy-Con is dash. You can see Springman has a unique ability where every time he releases a charge on his punches, he will shoot out this little shockwave, and that allows him to deflect punches. So you'll see it every time I move here, he'll kind of shoot that out. So if you time that right, you can deflect punches yourself. If you punch and turn the Joy-Cons, this is the big advantage of motion controls. You can actually curve your punches a little easier than with a stick. You can also punch both hands out to grab, and if you kind of pull them apart, you can do a wider grab, which can get punched away a little easier, so you got to be careful about that. Tilt them together to guard, and that's pretty quick. I got used to that pretty quick here, because you're going to need to be able to guard when you get smacked with a rush attack, and he's not going to go for his, but I will go for mine and knock him right into the springs there of Spring Gym. If you look out in the crowd, you can see all of the fans. There's a lot of Ninjara fans out there, but a bunch of Springman ones as well. All right, so we're going to get into a quick match here as a warm-up at the Spring Gym. You can see this is my home turf, and then we will jump into Grand Prix mode. So I've got 3 gloves here. All the fighters have 3 by default, but you can unlock even more with the arms getter and, use the ones you want. Toaster, a very good, straightforward, medium glove that has a fiery effect, does a lot of damage. The Boomerang can knock them around with a wind effect and kind of come in from the side where they might not be able to see it. You can knock them out of items that you want or into hazards. And then the Tri-Bolt, I really like this one because it has a stun effect. It shoots out a nice wide shot of 3 light hits, and then if you happen to hit them with a stun, then you can get a nice follow-up punch. For the most part, you really don't want to be throwing out 2 arms too often, because you want to keep one just in case you need to block a punch, because a punch can block a punch as long as your glove is equal or larger than the opponent. So you got to be careful. If their arms start to break and lose health, as I was hitting their arms, so it makes it easier for you to grab them, because they have those little exclamation marks. Yellow means caution, and red means that arm is just not usable. So you can get in there and get a grab. And the grabs are pretty good in this game. They do a set amount of damage, 150 for most characters. Everyone has 1,000 health, so you can see that's a big chunk of their health if you land a grab. But don't overestimate the ability of the grabs, because they are not, crazy good or anything. They're not really overpowered once you get used to how to punch them out of the way. So the rush there, I tried to bounce him off of the springs and catch him with a rush. The Yabuki, as it's known from the big tournament that Nintendo had recently with the producer doing that move. But yeah, the springs here, they can work to your advantage if you want to jump off them, but that also makes you vulnerable because you cannot block when you are in the air, so you got to be very careful about that. But you saw I was kind of knocking him around with the Boomerang and hitting him with the Toaster to get some extra damage. My second match there, it was yellow because I got a little bonus for getting perfect. I wasn't hit at all. Okay, so we're jumping into Grand Prix. Let's go through the fighters. You saw Springman there. He also has a comeback ability. He's like Little Mac, where he hates to lose. He's very determined to win the Grand Prix, so he will automatically charge his punches when he's at a quarter health or below. So he's a good beginner fighter. Ribbon Girl here, a pop sensation in her teens. She sings the theme song. There's a version with her singing. She has up to 4 jumps. She can do a quick fall to the ground. She's very maneuverable, tough to hit. You got to really learn how to lead your punches to beat her. Ninjara, he can use his ninja arts to poof in the air to kind of disappear, or he can also get out of damage when he's blocking and guarding. He will kind of move around with his ninja magic and avoid chip damage that way. He's going to college right now, so this is his final project to beat the Grand Prix. Master Mummy, very mysterious character. He's looking for his family. He's undead. He can heal himself when he guards, which is very useful, and he's also very heavy. He takes reduced damage from normal hits, and he has super armor, so he won't get knocked over unless you hit him with a charged punch. Minmin, she is the heir to this ramen house, the Nintendo Ramen House. She has really cool dragon arms. Her left arm can turn into a dragon when charged or when you land a grab, and it will automatically stay charged. She can also kick things out of the air, punches mostly. We have Mechanica here. She doesn't actually have arms. It's a 1 in 100,000 chance to be born or to get these arms as you grow. It's like a mutation in X-Men or something like that, or a quirk in My Hero Academia. She built her robot suit so that she could compete, and she also has that super armor and the ability to take reduced damage, but she can hover in the air, which is really cool. Twintelle is a famous movie star of 26 years young. She's the idol of Ribbon Girl. Ribbon Girl really looks up to Twintelle, but Mechanica here looks up to Ribbon Girl, so it's nice to see, sometimes your heroes have heroes as well. She has normal arms, as you can see. She was born with very strange hair. Her hair has the arms ability, and she's really good because she can slow down time with her star power to avoid punches. Next, we have Byte Barq, my favorite. This is a beach cop duo. Barq, the little robot, will go around and can throw punches as well, and he provides a springboard, kind of like Rush with Mega Man. You can jump off of him and deflect punches and go high up in the air, and they just kind of work together. They even combine for a rush attack. Next, we have Kid Cobra. He is a snakeboarder, this extreme sport in the arms world. He has snake arms. He's trying to get views up on his snakeboard videos and streams and stuff, and he has this really crazy jump. It's the best jump in the game in terms of height and speed, but he can't really stay up too long in the air, but he also has the ability to charge and get these quick dashes, so he's really good. Next, we have Helix. Will last for now till we see that secret character. Helix is an experiment from the Arms Lab. They tried to make this perfect arms fighter that is based off of the creatures that maybe gave us the arms abilities in the first place back in time, and he's very odd. He can stretch and squish. He's got blorbs that apparently taste delicious that he throws out. We're going to go with level 3 here to start out, so we won't see the secret boss just yet. There's one boss, and then there's a secret one after that for level 4 and up, but we'll see that next time. So we're going to start out with level 3. This is a good difficulty to start out when you're learning the game. 4 can get pretty tough before you unlock ranked. Ladies and gents, you'd better load those springs because you're tuned into the Arms Grand Prix. I'm Biff, and I'll be your commentator today. As always, I'm here to talk all things arms. So I'm using his North America voice. It's more announcery. Fresh from the spring gym, we have Springman bouncing into the fray. He loves pizza and weightlifting. He's 20 years old. Why do they call him the bouncer? If you have to ask, then you're not paying attention. He's long dreamt of hanging that championship belt on his mantle, but will he crack under pressure? Let's see. The Arms Grand Prix is about to start. So in Japan, little Biff here, he sounds more like his in-game voice. A little higher, almost like a Kid Goku or Luffy from One Piece, which is kind of an inspiration for this game, I'm thinking, since he's, got stretchy arms. Match 1, let's bounce. It's Springman versus the Man of Mystery, Helix, called DNA Man in Japan. No one's quite sure what he's made of, but he sure knows how to fight. And don't worry if some of his goo gets in your eyes, we're pretty sure it's non-toxic. It's supposed to be very delicious as well. So I'm going to go with the boomerang. We'll see if we can get that rush combo that I failed to do in the training. Helix here, you'll see he stretches up. That automatically charges his arms, so it's very, very good to use that, but you don't want to stay up in the air too long because you are a bigger target when you are hanging out there. So I'm going to use my boomerang to good effect here. That Guardian shield makes it so it's a lot tougher to hit him from head on if he throws that out. That is a shock bomb, one of the 4 items we will see popping up in the game, trying to make sure his Guardian does not go after me. So let's throw that out and knock him. There we go. Oh, I had my rush. Next time I'm going to try to stay close, see if we can hit him into the trampoline, but that's going to be a little tough because he's getting me with a grab. So yeah, he gets those auto charges by hanging out in the air, so we got to be careful about that. The better way to try to hit him with that rush combo, other than knocking him with the boomerang, ooh, that was charged up with electricity. Other than knocking him with the boomerang, if we can hit him into there. A good grab will also do it, but timing your grabs is going to be a little tough. Oop, he didn't quite bounce there. I want to see if we can get that good combo on him, but I don't want to get too distracted by that since he's not going to go easy on me to let me land that. So there we go. The shocking power of the Guardian when it's charged will bust your arms up so you're a little bit easier to hit. And then on top of that, you guys saw he hit me with the Blorb, which has a blinding effect, just like the blooper in Mario Kart. This is the Mario Kart development team, so you can see some similarities here. Although, if that game was, maybe 50-50 luck and, in skill, this game is more like, 20% luck or so and 80% skill. There's more to it, even though there are items. The items are fairly well balanced, in my opinion, because they, oh, he didn't bounce off of it. That's okay. We don't really need this rush. That's all right. So yeah, the items are fairly well balanced where they will pop up between you. So it's like whoever goes to it, is gonna get it. Oh, he got his rush, but I knocked him out of it. So the rushes, I didn't quite comment on those too much. That is your special attack. I'm gonna heal a little bit with some HP juice to get some of that health back. He blasted out of me. So yeah, rushes are a special attack. They can be pretty easily blocked or dodged if you know that they're going to get thrown out. But that's that little upside-down triangle you can see next to my health that will build up. I've almost got my other one here, but we're going to finish the match before I use it. There we go. Punched him right in his cute little weird goggles. So that is your special move you can unleash, and you do this flurry of crazy punches to do, 400 or 500 damage or so, depending on the arms that you're packing. And that can be really good, but it can work against you because you leave yourself open during that. And your opponent has the same ability. The more you punch, the more you build up that rush meter. All right, next we have the Airess Ribbon Girl. Biff will probably say that. Match 2, keep it going. It's Springman versus the Airess Ribbon Girl. Don't get distracted by her fancy aerial moves or you'll be toast. Springs versus Ribbon. Sounds crazy out of context, but here we go. So Ribbon Girl, I feel like she is, to use a Smash comparison with Smash 4, she's kind of like the Diddy Kong of this game, where she has a lot of stuff going for her. I think she has some of the best default arms in the game, and she's got a lot of mobility where when we see balance patches in the future, I could see her getting maybe changed or a little bit nerfed. I don't know. She just seems like, out of the gate, one of the easier characters to use with one of the better default sets of arms. We're gonna have to be very careful around her because, yeah, she's very good at outmaneuvering and getting those grabs. If you look out into the crowd, this is actually Ribbon Girl's stadium here where she performs, and you can hear her even singing. This is her version of the main theme. You'll hear a lot of variations of the ARMS theme as we go along. And these blocks, they can kind of pop up. It's almost like a puzzle game. You hit them out of the way, but they can kind of mask some of the shots that your opponent is using, so you have to be a little careful with hiding behind them, and you can use them as platforms. Definitely works well for someone who is going to be able to jump on them, sort of like Ribbon Girl. And the items are also used from the blocks when you play on the stage, so you have to be a little careful. There's a red one on the right, if you guys happen to lance that. There we go. That has a bomb in it, so I'm going to hit that and get out of the way before it blows up, just to, make sure I don't have to deal with that later. Sometimes that's good, just to get it out of there so that you don't have to deal with it when you're circling around. So let's do some basic strategy talk here, especially with Ribbon Girl and the more unique or more maneuverable characters that have a lot of movement options. You kind of want to follow them rather than circling the opposite direction. That's the natural thing. I would think most people would defensively circle the opposite way than your opponent, but if you travel with them and kind of predict the way they're going to go, then you can throw an arm out and catch them a little easier, as you saw there, because they're going to be jumping into it. And another big weakness is when a character lands from a jump, they are going to be in a set spot. She has a lot of ability to air dash. She can air dash multiple times, twice, and jump 4 times. So she can kind of change her trajectory in the air, unlike most characters. So she can be a little tricky to predict her landing. But at the same time, that is when she is vulnerable. Let's see if we can catch her here. This is a lower level computer, so a little easier to catch him with the rush attack. But yeah, she has a more unpredictable landing. But for most characters, you're really going to want to see when they're going to land, and then that's when you want to throw out something. Also, a good strategy is, wait till your opponent punches and then throw something out, especially as you get with more advanced foes in your way. Let's see if we can maybe lure her into the bomb back there, and then if I hit that, she's gonna, yep. So yeah, the fire bomb does 200 flat damage, which is a fifth of your life. That is, the same as Master Mummy throwing you, and that is a lot of damage, so you have to be careful about that. The shock bomb just kind of breaks your arms. We saw the HP juice. There's also rush juice that builds up your special meter. All right, we're taking a little break. We're gonna see my favorite, the Clockwork Cops here. But we're doing one of the side games. Match 3, moving on. Let's switch it up and play some Skillshot. You play by smashing targets as they fly by. The more targets you can destroy in a row, the more points you can score. Your opponent will be smashing targets too, so watch out for incoming punches. Whoever racks up the highest score before time runs out wins. Okay, let's see what you got. So this is a good mode if you're trying to get your accuracy a little better, but it can be frustrating because if your opponent is better at, you saw he kind of hit his punches a little bit more true, a little bit faster than I did, and got a bunch of points. So even though we're at a low difficulty, I might end up losing against this combo because they are going to be so quick at hitting. Look at that. And they've got those Seekies, which home in on you. You really got to hit the targets and then also hit your opponent at the same time, which is going to be pretty tough against. Not only are he's shooting the 2 missiles out, but he's also doing the, we took a nice screenshot. He's also having his buddy, Byte, get in there and hit me as well. Yeah, look at all that. He's getting all these extra points from smacking me around. So I'm going to try to see if we can come back here, give him a couple of hits, see if he likes it. And then we got it. Oh, nope, he got all those. So you really have to be immediately targeting all the stuff that is on the ground, all the targets in the ground, in the air. And there we go. Man, you can see how easy it is to lose even a low-level computer, because if they're just quick, immediately hitting all those targets, they will just trounce you in points. This is more of those minigame styles of, it could go either way sort of thing, so don't feel too bad if you lose playing this. I'm going to switch to Tri-Bolt. Usually you don't want to have 2 of the same arm necessarily, because it can, give you a double up of a strength, but it might also give you more of, more of a predictable pattern, because you're going to be using 2 of the same thing, and then your opponent might be able to, easily gauge what you're going to do. But it works pretty well when you're doing targeting stuff, because, like these arms here, they hit so many times. You can see that actually worked really well to knock him around. We're going to hit him with that, potentially. Nope. We got to be careful. As you can see, Barq, he's good at throwing out that punch from his maw and trying to smack us while we're focusing on his opponent. Or our opponent there, yeah. So look, he's getting all those targets. We got to make sure we keep a good lead here, because the computer can easily come back, but we've got a nice wide spread. You can hit Barq out of the way to get him out of your face temporarily, but it won't last forever, and it'll just mean that he's going to come back and probably want to bite you even more. So you got to be careful about that. Barq is kind of on his own, but he will sneak in punches while you're focusing on Byte, so you gotta always be wary of that pup. There we go. So switching our strategy up and trying a little bit of a different pattern did work out. But in most fights, like I mentioned, having different types of arms, you get more effects than just doubling up on something like the Tri-Bolt, even though it'll maybe hit easier early on. Match 4, springing forward. It's Springman versus the Grim Creeper, Master Mummy. In the moonlight, the figure of a giant mummy appears. Is he alive, dead, something in between? We may never know, which is probably for the best. So yeah, he's a very mysterious character, as I mentioned. We do not want to get grabbed by him, so I'm going to try to keep my distance a little bit. And I typically charge my punches every chance I get. Every time you hold your guard, you hold a jump when you land, or hold your dash, then you get a charge. And the charge, as you can see, has these added effects, like the toaster opens up and has all this fire inside of it, which is good for me, not for my opponent. The Tri-Bolt, it adds that stun effect, so you can see they momentarily kind of like flinch a little bit, which you don't get with Master Mummy more often. And then you can get another punch in there. He's going to try to heal, so I got to be pretty aggressive with him, but not let him heal. This is the unique thing of the Mausoleum, He's got this trampoline in the middle, which is not actually very good to be in the middle. It makes you a little unpredictable, but also makes you easier to hit because you can't guard in the air, so you're bouncing around. But it does look like a cool spider's web. And yeah, so Master Mummy, he's not going to be falling over from any of my normal punches if I don't charge them. Then you'll see. Let's try not charging and see if we can hit him. He'll just kind of, yeah, he took the damage, took reduced damage there a little bit, I think. And he also did not fall over, unlike all the other characters that don't have super armor. So there's 3 characters with super armor. We'll see one a little later for sure, but there's also Mechanica. You got to be careful about those types of characters because they will make it so much tougher to deal with. They can punch through a lot of your stuff. Like Master Mummy, his big thing, you know, getting in there and getting grabs is really good for him because he's got the highest damage grab, but he also wants to be a little, you know, careful when he knocks you down. He can guard and then heal. It starts that tick of healing, goes 10, you know, slowly, and then it starts to build up. The longer he guards without getting knocked around, he will heal, and you don't want that to happen, obviously, because, you know, if you're playing against him, you gotta keep him out of shield, but that's when you can grab. It has that fighting game triangle of punches, beat grabs, grabs, beat shields, and shields beat punches. So here we go, probably the most popular character in the game thus far. Match 5, halfway there. It's Springman versus the Silver Screen Queen, Twintelle. Her signature parasol arms can deflect light attacks. Keep raining punches and you'll land some eventually, though. All right, so we're gonna go up against Twintelle. I might actually use the Tri-Bolt because I want to make sure I can catch her as she moves around. This is her stage, Cinema 2, and we have all these cars that you can jump on, and you can see she got a big right on time there to help me out. When you jump off of the hood, it opens up, and you get a crazy big jump off of it, like when Byte jumps on Barq or when you go off the trampolines. So you can see Twintelle really using her signature ability here to try to float out of the way of my punches. I wanted to make sure we were in that rush juice, but didn't work too much. Ooh! And that's what happens when I push it and try to hit her before she's got a rush. You have to be so careful when your opponent has a rush ready. But Ribbon Girl, Twintelle, characters that like to float in the sky, one of their big weaknesses is that they are very susceptible to getting caught with a punch or a rush attack if they're, you know, floating up there. Okay, so now we're gonna see Springman's comeback ability activate at long last here. So I'm below 10 or 25% health, a quarter of my health, and that means my punches are charged up automatically. And we really want that HP juice, even if it knocks us above where we have to charge again. But yeah, automatically charging your punches, that means you can throw out stronger punches more consistently and quicker without needing to hold a dash or hold a jump. And there you go. He is really good at coming back from a deficit. He hates losing. It's kind of like in Pokemon, all the starters have those abilities that power up their attacks when they are below a certain amount of health. So to liken it to that, it is very useful to have, especially if you're learning the game, because you can get some wins that you might not normally get. Okay, so she threw out the Thunderbird. That electricity, you know, stuns your arms, breaks them, makes it a little tougher to actually avoid stuff. She's probably going to shield that. Threw that rush out at the wrong time. You want to kind of catch your opponent when they're throwing an arm or jumping or something where they can't shield, because otherwise your rush attacks might not land. And now this is the very scary time where I need to be ready to shield at a moment's notice, and because I threw something out, she got the rush. So the rush can be very scary. It is a part of the game that I almost feel might get nerfed eventually, because when somebody has a rush attack, you could easily block it, but it really limits your options of what you can do, because they can so easily just, you know, hold on to that and make you afraid for your life, because, you know, you have to be able to get out of the way. You have to be able to tell that it's going to happen, so you got to be very cautious or you'll suffer a bunch of damage. So we saw 2 types of grabs there. The one earlier, when you grab and you're on the ground, you pull your opponent to you. So if you want to stay where you are, grab on the ground. If you want to go to your opponent, then you can grab them in the air and you will pull yourself to them. So that changes some of the factors. I mentioned Springman is one of the ones with 150 damage. Master Mummy's the top with 200. There's some variation between. Mechanica does 160 because she's a bit heavier. All right, match 6. Stay loose. Let's mix it up and play some hoops. It's b-ball with a twist. You got to throw your opponent into the basket. dunk or toss him in close for 2 points, or drain him from behind the arc for 3. First to 10 wins. Now get out there and show a little pep in your step. So this is my favorite of the side games. Hoops is really fun. It is all about the grabs. So if you are, worried about getting your grab timing, this is a good mode to play so you can kind of learn the timing that you're going to have, as well as your opponent's grab timing. Grabs can be a little difficult to counter, as well as kind of difficult to time on your own. My feet were over the line, so I didn't get the 3-pointer there. But yeah, this whole game is involving throwing your opponent so that you can get them in the hoop. You won't always land it. Sometimes they'll bounce off the rim. But if you hit them with a rush attack, you will always get a nice dunk in there, and it'll get you some good 3-pointers. So you do have to be careful and make sure you're not falling for your opponent's grabs. Damage doesn't do anything in this game, but it does, knock them down or stun them long enough for you to get that grab in. But you gotta be, extra cautious, even with a slow opponent like Mechanica here. I don't want to overextend and accidentally fall into a spot where she's gonna grab me. Typically, you want your opponent to throw something out first, like I mentioned before. Let's see if we can hit her with a rush. Doesn't matter how much you hit him with a rush in hoops, it always bounces him off the springboards and always gets him in that hoop. And first to 10 wins, so there we go. Handily beat Mechanica there and got another win. So yeah, Grand Prix kind of mixes up the modes you play. We saw Skillshot, there's hoops, there's V-ball. We'll probably see that before we finish up here. We're getting close to the end already. And Ninjara is our next opponent. Speaking of grabs, he is very grab happy. Match 7, getting close. It's Springman versus the student of stealth, Ninjara. Ninja college students scale these giant steps each day to get to class. No wonder Ninjara's legs are so buff. And speaking of buff, his one glove, his middle one, that's that green one, you can see it on the right there, is called the buff. It is very maneuverable, and it actually puffs up to be a larger size than it normally is by default. So if you charge it, you can hit through certain punches you wouldn't be able to before. He also has a chakram, which stuns, just like the one that I'm using here, the tri-bolt, but can actually hit around like a boomerang. It curves around the side. So we can see this Ninjara is being a little more cautious with how he plays. We're gonna see if we can hit him. Okay, I was gonna try to force him into that. And, whoop, jeez, tried to jump out of the way, but I should be punch and grab, so you gotta be careful. Trying to time your punches in time. Always keep, if you know your opponent's gonna go for a grab or something scary, maybe try to keep another punch handy so you can, hit it. I meant to do that, but I accidentally jumped. Ninjara is very tough to land a rush attack on. I got pretty lucky there, but I didn't get any of that HP juice, that delicious secret stuff, Michael's secret stuff there to power me up. But the rush is so hard to land on Ninjara because if he shields, he will keep teleporting around. You almost do want to dodge when you are Ninjara and more nimble characters instead of shielding, because then you don't take that chip damage, but you do get out of the way of it. With Ninjara especially, that ability to teleport when he gets hit from a shield means that he is in a kind of a weird position where he can get caught by rush attacks even if he was fast enough to shield it, because he'll poof, and sometimes if you're close enough, you will still get hit. Oh, down to the last few seconds. I can kind of stall here because I've got a health advantage, and that is part of this game, just like most fighting games. If you have a health advantage, if you stay alive, you win by, life majority. So there we go. I could see you gotta be keeping an eye on your opponent's rush meter, their life meter, as well as your own to kind of factor that in as the match goes on. And yeah, my favorite 1-2 combo, a boxing standard, is to throw out, the tri-bolt, and if I got a clear shot on him, try to hit him with the toaster to do some more damage. You can see the follow-up hit doesn't do quite as much damage as the initial hit. Ninjara's trying to hit me still. He really wants this HP juice. The computers are really good at trying to bogart the items, so you do have to be careful when that juice falls down. Any of the stuff that goes down on the ground, especially the stuff that's advantageous, the computers will definitely try to get in there and steal them from you. If we can hit him with that, or lure him into it. There we go. He wanted to be careful there and not accidentally teleport into that. But you can see he's got his rush ability. Keeping an eye on that. That is the most dangerous time. I really like the stage. It has some great Naruto-esque ninja music, more traditional shamisen and, shakuhachi flute. Oh, but we got, I thought I would hit him in time, but the rush is, because it can send out punches in that flurry so quickly, the rush tends to be a type of thing where you can pop it if you missed a grab and you've got a rush, or you missed a punch. You pop that special ability, you'll retract your arms and instantly be able to start punching and counter stuff. So it is so good to have that handy for so many situations, and that's why it is so scary to deal with. But at the same time, you know, if you're playing smart, you should be able to outmaneuver or guard in time. It just really limits your options, so I could see that being a big difficulty point for a lot of players. Match 8, the tension builds. It's Springman versus the Ramen Bomber Minmin. She can use her legs to defend herself. Her kicks are as spicy as her personality. If you're attacked to get kicked, don't panic. Spring back and counterattack. So lots of puns based on the characters' names and stuff. You know, tight things are getting, you know, tight coiled or tight. Yeah, all the spring stuff you can see Biff talking about. Minmin has a really cool stage, the Ramen Bowl. I love the logo in the center. The dragon that is representative of her, because she can charge up her arm into a dragon, especially if she gets a grab. That is a great way to do it, because then you don't have to stand there and charge it with a dash. She is one of my favorites. I do like Byte Barq a little more, I think, just design-wise and the way that they're these robot buddies that are really cool. She's going to hit me out and try to get in there, but she's got her dragon arm. She's not going to get too much, though, because that's almost gone. That's okay. That's the price of one grab. If I can land a grab on her, I should be able to pay her back for that. Ooh, that was close. She's got that huge Megavolt, which is just like Master Mummy's Megaton Punch, but has an electric shock. So you got to be careful, because if they catch you with that, there we go. She tried to hit punch through me, but I caught her. If you get caught with that Megavolt, you're just, you know, a sitting duck for a big throw or something. So you also have to be very careful jumping against any opponent. I tend to jump way too much, I think, when the ground game is much quicker. If you jump and your opponent has a bigger arm that you can't punch through, then you're gonna have to deal with that, and you'll be landing on it most likely. That's why you want to avoid that. I'm gonna try to be careful here and maybe back it up a little bit. She's got her rush. Her fiery Ram is just like the Chakram that Ninjara had. We saw him use that a little bit, but instead of a stun effect, it has a fire effect, so it does more damage. That's actually a really good one to put on her left arm. She's going with the Dragon Megavolt combo, which is pretty deadly. If you get that dragon arm, especially with the dragon itself, it's a little confusing, because, you know, she's got a dragon arm by default when she charges, but she can also put the dragon arm on there, the one she's using right now. But when you have that instant charge beam, you can really play at a good range and just mow down your opponent. All right, we're gonna try to push in and rush at her, because even if we don't catch her with the rush, I think it's worth sometimes using your special to get your opponents out of the items, because the HP juice especially, I feel, is maybe the most vicious item that you need to fight for, because if your opponent sits in there, that's 50 HP back per tick, and I mentioned 1,000 total. 50 HP is pretty good, you know. That's one good punch that's uncharged, but altogether, if you get a lot of that, you're going to be recovering so much. Look at all the fans in disbelief. I really love all the fans are themed to the different fighter they're supporting. They'll cheer or, you know, freak out if their fighter loses, but also they will change depending on the alternate colored costumes, which you just click in the left stick and push a direction when you want to get those. Match 9, one bounce away. It's Springman versus the Speed Demon, Kid Cobra. Years of snakeboarding have honed his leg strength. He can jump sideways better than any other fighter. He may be a spring chicken, but you're Springman. Stay loose and you got this. So yeah, he's a younger competitor. I think I'm going to try to hit him with some boomerangs, because he's going to be jumping around. This is a crazy stage, because we have these snake boards, and when you're on them, he really wants to get on his, so that makes him predictable as a computer. The snake boards are very maneuverable, as you can see. I can actually use that to get around, and if you're jumping with them, it makes jumping a lot safer, because they do block punches from the bottom that would normally hit you. But yeah, when Snake Man is, not Snake Man, that's Mega Man. When Kid Cobra is on the stage, he is just obsessed with staying on his snakeboard. It's almost like he cares more about showing people his snakeboarding prowess than he does actually winning the match. So yeah, you'll know he's going for that, so you can, you know, try to aim hits that way. If he's gonna try to get on that snakeboard, it makes him very predictable. He's got his Chillerang, or Coolerang, sorry. is there's the chill out that Twintelle has. It's a glove that freezes. The Coolerang has a freeze effect, so you do have to be careful and make sure that you are, there we go, don't need that HP really, because he's almost dead. But the Coolerang, it will slow you down. You can't really do much when you are under that freeze effect. It's kind of similar to electricity. When you're shocked, you can't use your arms. When you're frozen, you can't really move, so you're a sitting duck to getting hit. So yeah, on this stage, you really want to make sure you're using the snake boards to full effect, but also watching your opponent. You want to make sure they're not going to be able to get on their snake board, so I can just kind of, you know, when he's trying to get over there, that's a great time for me to get grabs on him because I know exactly where he wants to go, and I do have to be careful here because he's going to try to use his rush. Ooh, we're okay. He faked me out. He played with my misconception. You know, I thought he was going to go for the snake board, as he usually does, but he went for the rush attack, and I got my own, so let's throw that out here while he's trying to maneuver around. Oh, he managed to block it. Even if your opponent blocks a rush, you can sometimes get in enough damage on their shield if you're close enough to break it, and that is just like their arms breaking, where, you know, the arms have so much HP, and when they run out, you are able to actually get in there and get a grab real easy. Like right now, this is when I want to go for him. Yeah, he can still maneuver, especially on the snake board, so I didn't land that successfully. But he's getting down to the last little bit. He's going to get desperate here, and there he goes. Knocked him right off his favorite spinning device. He will Beyblade no longer. So there you can see all the people in the background doing the ramps. There's a big mural of it, like a billboard of him on his snakeboard that's really cool. So all these stages very uniquely themed. I love all the personality the fighters have. Here we are, the final battle of this Grand Prix versus the Commish Max Brass. He is a new fighter that is not playable yet. The Arms Grand Prix grand finale is here at last. Listen to that crowd. The fans are fired up. It's Springman versus the Commish Max Brass. He's the head of the Arms League and the organizer of this very tournament. Springman's been dreaming of this shot at the champ for so long, and here it is. Bounce Brass and grab glory, Springman. So you can see even his shoulders. Max Brass has arms that are made out of all the belts he has won because he's such a good champion. We're fighting on top of his helicopter pad here. He converted into an arena, and he is like Springman plus, plus Ultra. He has a lot of maneuverability for a bigger fighter. He's kind of medium-sized, almost like Byte Barq and Twintelle. But then on top of that, he has some of those similar abilities of Springman. You saw him kind of scream out there. That was when he was buffing up. So when he holds a charge, a little like Minmin actually, he can power up his body to where he basically becomes Master Mummy in Mechanica and doesn't flinch from normal hits and things. So he gets a little bit of that super armor when he's buffed up, but he can lose that pretty easily. You see, he deflated back into his normal self. And but at the same time, he's not able to have that all the time. So I think it's a little balanced in that way. But he's able to kind of have the strengths of the medium fighters as well as the heavy fighters, depending on how he wants to play, which is interesting. And then I think there's probably a secret plot here of maybe Brass being related to Springman in some way. Maybe he's his long-lost dad who went off, like Ash Ketchum or something. His dad went off to become an arms champion, and he never got to see him much, so he doesn't even know this is his father. They have similar hair. There's a lot of similarities, including their abilities. You saw Max Brass turned red at the end of that match there because he gets that ability to charge up. He's going to get it. The same ability that Springman has where his punches are automatically charged. I'm going to finish this with a rush attack if we jump in. And he also has that deflection when he releases a charge as well. So you saw I used the shock bomb to root him in a direction. Then I threw the grab because I knew it was a sure shot. He had to get out of the way of that bomb. That was good enough to get a throw in. He got shocked and I threw him again. And there we go. Easy peasy. Next time we will jump up to level 4 and we might have a special guest to help us and do some team battle. Look alive, people. The award ceremony is about to begin. Let's take a look at the final results. So if we beat it at any level below 4, we don't get the full ending in the secret boss. Now that's a score worth celebrating. Could a new Arms League be in our midst? Or Arms Legend, rather. So there we go. We didn't lose a match other than, against Byte Barq. I forgot. Let's not talk about that. Get ready to go crazy. The winner of the Arms Grand Prix and your new grand champion, the Bouncer, Springman. He sprang to the top and bounced the champ. Congratulations. And there we are. Wore that belt like a champ. As another Arms Grand Prix draws to a close, I'd like to thank all the competitors and the fans at home. I'd like to thank you guys at home as well. See you next time, folks. So Biff waving goodbye with his weird arm on his hand. I feel like Biff would be a really cool extra character along the line. He might have a smaller body type, but he does have stretchable arms. We saw those in the background of some of the sports games, like hoops. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this. Maybe subscribe if you haven't. Next time, we're going to be jumping into the Grand Prix and seeing a secret boss that you might know a little bit about, but we're going to take him on with a special guest. I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.